the year 356 BCE, under a burning Macedonian sky, a child was born, and with him, a storm that would sweep across the world. His name, Alexander, son of King Philip II of Macedon, and Olympias, a woman who claimed her blood came from the gods themselves. On the night of his birth, the temple of Artemis burned to the ground, and seers whispered that a force greater than Greece had come into the world. From his earliest years, Alexander was told he was destined not just to rule but to conquer, trained by warriors, taught by philosophers, and haunted by prophecy. His father, Philip, transformed Macedonia from a mountain tribe into a war machine. Through diplomacy and iron, he united the Greek city-states under one banner, the Hellenic League. But in his shadow, his son watched and dreamed bigger. Under Aristotle, Alexander learned of science, empire, and the idea that reason could conquer chaos. But what Aristotle taught with words, Alexander would prove with blood. When he was just a boy, he tamed a wild stallion no man could ride. His father said, "My son, seek a kingdom worthy of yourself. Macedonia is too small for you." When Philip was struck down by an assassin's blade, the world expected Macedonia to crumble. Instead, a 20-year-old prince took the throne and declared himself king. Greece rebelled. Alexander crushed them in a single campaign. At Thebes, he burned the city to the ground as a warning to the rest. The boy was gone. The conqueror had risen. In 330 for BCE, he marched east with 40,000 men to face the might of the greatest empire on earth, Persia. At the Hellespont, he crossed from Europe to Asia and cast his spear into the soil, declaring Asia should be won by the sword. At Granicus, he met the first Persian army and shattered it. At Issus, he faced King Darius III himself and broke the Achaemenid line with a single charge. The world began to whisper his name. For the first time in centuries, the Persian king fled his own army, and Alexander the young lion of Macedon became lord of Asia Minor. But conquest was not enough. He wanted the world. At Gaugamela, the armies of East and West met for the final time. Darius brought 1,000,000 men. Alexander had less than 50,000. The Persians fought for their king. The Macedonians fought for immortality. When the dust cleared, Darius was gone, and Persia was no more. Babylon, Susa, Persepolis. One by one, the jewels of Asia bowed before the conqueror. Alexander stood where only gods had stood and began to believe he was one. In Egypt, he was hailed as a son of Ammon, and in Persia, he took the robes of a great king. His empire stretched from the Aegean to the Indus. No ruler before him, not Cyrus, not Darius, had gone so far, but the farther he marched, the deeper he lost himself. He demanded his men bow before him as a god. He began to wear the diadem of Persia. Those who resisted died. At Bactra, his general Parmenion was executed. At Sogdia, his friend Cletus, the man who once saved his life, was struck down by Alexander's own hand. Power had become poison. In 326 BCE, he reached the edge of the known world, India. There, he faced King Porus, whose war elephants shook the earth itself. The battle raged through storm and blood. When it was done, Porus was defeated but honored. Alexander made him an ally, not a slave. He had conquered everything his heart could imagine. Yet his men, weary, wounded, and broken, refused to go farther. At the banks of the Hyphasis River, they begged him to turn back. For the first time in his life, Alexander stopped. He returned west, a god in body but a ghost in spirit. His empire stretched farther than any before him, but it was held together only by his will. Then, in the summer of 323 BCE, in the palace of Babylon, Alexander fell ill. Fever. Pain. Silence. When asked who should rule after him, he whispered, "To the strongest." At 32, the man who sought eternity was gone. His generals tore his empire apart, each carving kingdoms from his dream. But Alexander's shadow never faded. He spread Greek thought across continents, built cities that still bear his name, and shaped the destiny of East and West alike. In death, he achieved what he never could in life: immortality. For in every man who seeks greatness, there is a piece of Alexander the Great. Fade to black.